So I believe that if you're a beginner, if all those things are foreign to you, you wouldn't know how to go in and launch a campaign in the next 30 minutes on any of those platforms and know it was going to do okay. You're a beginner. And that's okay. I'm not saying that to talk down to you. But if you're a beginner, I believe that there's not a better model than learning and creating income at the same time. You learn how to do it, you create income, and that's via an agency.
Welcome to Show Me the Nuggets, where each week Joe chats with world-class entrepreneurs to find out the key principles, strategies, and processes that lie behind their outstanding achievements. Now, your host, the no bullshit serial entrepreneur, Joe Troyer.
What is the better business model in your opinion? E-commerce, digital agency, which model is more sustainable, more hands-off, easy to scale up, etc.? So I think it's important to kind of break this question down a little bit, because it is not a one-size-fits-all answer. If you are a beginner to digital marketing, you don't know SEO, you don't know PPC, you don't know retargeting, you don't know Google Tag Manager, right? Like you don't know the major platforms and how to run them, right? You don't know WordPress. If that's you, understand that for me, I think that you're a beginner in this digital marketing world. I would never recommend that you jump into e-commerce as a beginner in this digital marketing world. So I believe that if you're a beginner, if all those things are foreign to you, you wouldn't know how to go in and launch a campaign in the next 30 minutes on any of those platforms and know it was going to do okay. You're a beginner. And that's okay. I'm not saying that to talk down to you. But if you're a beginner, I believe that there's not a better model than learning and creating income at the same time. You learn how to do it, you create income, and that's via an agency, right? Performing services as an agency, right? Where else, right? It's like a freaking high-paid internship. Where else can you be a high-paid intern like this? Have your own business, make your own schedule, right? Learn how to do all the marketing and create an income. So I think if you're a beginner, that you should be doing some type of consultative services, okay? While you are learning how to do things. Should. Why? Because you can make money, make bank, bro, right? You can pay your bills, okay? And you can get paid to learn. I started as a beginner right here, doing this exact same thing, right? Learning and creating my income. And what has always worked best for me, is my agency. My agency has been the most sustainable business that I've ever had, right? My agency has been the most repeatable business that I've ever had. It has been the business that once it's set up and going, the processes may change a little bit, but they don't change that fast. And when you have key people in place in the agency, they go update that documentation. Giving my advice to you guys, most scalable and leverage could really be either e-com or an agency, depending on your execution. Okay. I think that the easiest for me and my skill set is definitely agency. That doesn't mean that I haven't invested in some e-com businesses. I built quite a few e-com businesses. And before we move on, I'll kind of give you guys a little bit of feedback or criteria about e-com though, e-com specifically. So just so you can think it through, I've had e-com businesses that worked for like years and then fell apart in my face. And so I'd like to share kind of my takeaways from that. If I were to do e-com again today, these are the things that I would think about. See the smile. I'd stay away from brand controlled markets. Okay. What I mean by that, to take it a step further, is I wouldn't be drop shipping other people's brands. I've gotten myself in big trouble drop shipping other people's brands. Because when you're drop shipping other people's brands, you're completely reliant on them for your markup, what you're going to make, for your supply, right? They also help control the demand. I would focus on creating your own brand. So now you're talking about e-com, creating your own brand, your own packaging, your own formulation, your own product, right? And now there starts to be a whole lot more work involved than like building this e-com drop ship, do 7 figures in the next 4 hours business that everybody seems to be toting these days. Okay, I would not be doing drop shipping. You won't be able to compete. You won't be able to compete with the big box stores, right? How can you offer free shipping on an item that costs you $60 to ship? Can't, right? And you're not going to be able to compete in price either because they're buying in ridiculous quantities. The other thing with e-com is, so I had a master distributorship with a company, and then some basic distributorships with some other companies, all under one brand, serving one market, and we were crushing it in e-com. This was many, many years ago, shortly after I got my start. Did the agency, that went well, it went great. We kept growing the agency, and the agency resources, when we had extra time in that business, we would work on our e-commerce assets that we were building. So we built up these businesses from scratch. They were going freaking fantastic. We were in markets that weren't fads and weren't just gonna, go like this and then just, completely fall on their face after. We were drop shipping. We were in quote unquote brand controlled markets. And we had, 60% markup, something like that. And guys, it all came crashing down in my face because it was controlled by those brands. Those brands decide that you're no longer part of their bigger vision for where you're going as a company. You're screwed, right? I didn't own my own brand. I didn't have my own product. And so I just literally lost everything with the e-com. What really sucks is that I was in the middle of actually selling the e-com companies. So they were going to give me a 2-year multiple on earnings, and I lost the distributorship that made the whole business work, right? They just yanked it from me, and instantly I went from having a huge payday as soon as this deal was done to having nothing. It was literally worth nothing. Okay, so those are kind of my learnings from e-com, and I tell you that because I don't want you to feel bad for me. I tell you that because I got burned, raw dogged, really freaking bad, and I don't want that to obviously happen to you. So if you're going to go into e-com, I caution you, think about those things, but make sure that you have huge, crazy margins, become your own brand, and be reliant on fucking no one. That is the only way I would ever get back into e-com. Okay. The other lesson that I want to talk here about the agency is that I've had local agencies and agencies of, kind of different types, honestly, over the years. Okay, I've had agencies where I was the face, right? Where without me, nothing would work. I was the sales guy, right? I was the guy that then was the go-to or the in-between person and had all the meetings while fulfillment was happening. When a project was wrapped up, I was the one as well, right? Getting the sign off and everything, where literally, if it wasn't for me, they wouldn't know anybody else in the business, right? And all paths led to me. Trust me when I say that sucks, okay? I've also had businesses where I wasn't the face. By all means, I sold a couple of deals here and there, but in the grand scheme of things, out of all the total sales, I sold maybe 2% of the sales, right? That's where it's at, okay? So if you can build it in a way where not all roads lead to you, right, then by all means, you'll have the opportunity down the road to not only sell and to exit, but it'll be a much more scalable and leveraged business for you while you're in it as well.
Thanks for tuning in and showing me the nuggets. If you've been enjoying the podcast and find our content helpful, please visit our Apple Podcast page, hit the subscribe button, and leave us a review. Joe and the whole team have been working hard to bring more value to the show. Your feedback will go a long way in helping us make the show better and reach a wider audience.